young now, so there's more of me to come, isn't there? I've been, from an amateur.
I say if I lost, I get and
I retire.
I retired. Yeah, I say, hey, it's not good.
You have to keep boxing.
Yeah, you young. You can training.
Well, this is my chance to, write my name in stone. This is legacy building fights. This is history.
Daniel Dubois has finally spoken, and no, he's not retiring. The rumors have been swirling, amplified by whispers from inside gyms, speculative social media posts, and post-fight interviews clouded in ambiguity. But Dubois has now shut all of that down with one clear, defiant message. He's staying in the game. Still fighting, still chasing the glory, and far from finished. Yet if you listen closely to the reaction...
Hunger and desire and, just... as you're a fighter, you want to become the best, so... that and the team I have around me, my dad, and that inner circle kept me strong.
Around the boxing world, his words might have landed with more skepticism than support. Dubois' statement wasn't just a denial of retirement, it was a desperate effort to reclaim narrative control. After the brutal loss to Oleksandr Usyk, many believed his fighting spirit had been left in the ring. But according to Dubois, that couldn't be further from the truth. Still, the optics are hard to ignore. When a fighter has to convince the world he hasn't quit, that's already a sign that...
Of course not. He doesn't have to retire. He doesn't have to give him a decision when his next fight is just yet. He's just boxed. So everything is done properly, but of course, we all know he's not retiring.
The damage runs deeper than a single fight. Eddie Hearn was one of the first to respond, and his words were as calculated as they were calm. Hearn made it clear, Dubois is not retiring. And more importantly, he doesn't owe anyone an explanation right now. The man just boxed, and in Hearn's view, this is part of the long and winding journey every heavyweight must endure. There was no panic in Hearn's tone, just a steady, measured confidence that Dubois will rise again. But it wasn't exactly a rallying cry. It felt more like a PR cleanup than a passionate endorsement. Then came Johnny Nelson, and Nelson, as always, pulled no punches. His take was blistering. Fans aren't...
I don't believe him. If I want to say, I don't believe him. I just don't. I think... one teenager...
Buying Dubois' comeback act. This isn't inspiration, Nelson said. It's illusion. He didn't mince words when he said Dubois folded under pressure, humiliated himself on the biggest stage, and now wants to bluff his way back into relevance. In Nelson's eyes, this comeback talk isn't courage. It's camouflage. Smoke and mirrors to hide the truth that Dubois is no longer feared, no longer respected, and no longer trusted. The fans feel it too. There's trolling, yes, but it's not limited to internet warriors on X or TikTok. It's coming from inside the sport. Former champions, respected pundits, and even active fighters are throwing shade, not out of cruelty, but out of disbelief. Dubois had the stage, the opponent, and the spotlight, and he fumbled it all.
It's not that. It's boxing. It's not ballet. It's not dancing. Daniel, you young. You can dream. Man, relax, man.
Even Oleksandr Usyk, the man who dismantled him, has weighed in. And here's where things get weird. Usyk isn't throwing jabs anymore. He's offering advice, encouragement, telling Dubois not to retire, praising his youth, urging him to keep going. But make no mistake, this isn't respect. This is pity. A man who dominated you shouldn't sound like your life coach. When the guy who broke you is now giving motivational speeches, that's not a comeback arc. That's an obituary with kind words. Frank Warren, Dubois' own promoter, tried to soften the blow, but his comments betrayed a deep uncertainty. I hope he can come again, Warren said, a sentence soaked in doubt. At 27, most heavyweights are entering their physical prime, not facing emotional burnout. Warren even hinted at concerns for Dubois' mental health. More evidence that this loss wasn't just a fight gone wrong. It was a full-blown collapse. Let's be honest, this wasn't war. This was a psychological assassination. Usyk didn't just outbox Dubois. He exposed him. Every weakness, mental, strategic, emotional, was laid bare. The mask slipped, the armor cracked, and the man who once called himself a killer was...
If he don't learn from it, then he won't come again, but it's up to him. It was a tough night for him, a tough night. Is he okay, like, health-wise? He's obviously very, very disappointed. But in terms of, that was brutal, that knockout, Frank. Is he okay? He got up a 10. He wasn't brutal.
Revealed to be unprepared for true adversity. While Dubois fumbled with retirement rumors and sympathy posts, the heavyweight division kept moving. And Usyk? He became more untouchable with every excuse Dubois fans tried to push. But just when things seemed like they couldn't get worse, Derek Chisora stepped in and poured gasoline on the fire. Chisora, never one to sugarcoat, went straight for the jugular. His message to Dubois was raw and unfiltered. According to Chisora, Dubois wasn't just physically beaten, he was spiritually distracted, focused on nonsense, not war. All that talk about illegal body shots? Chisora laughed it off. You're a liar, he declared. No hesitation, no diplomacy, just street code truth. If Dubois wants to sit at the table with killers, he better start acting like one. That's where the problem lies. Dubois wants the prestige of being a top heavyweight, but doesn't want to pay the price. Chisora accused him of being pampered, protected, coddled. Fighters like Chisora respect toughness, not talent alone. They fight through wars and bleed for respect. Dubois, according to Chisora, he quit and then made excuses. That's unforgivable. But it gets uglier. Chisora revealed what Dubois' own trainer allegedly said
off the scale of body show, you're a liar and all this for no reason. And what happened now?
Post-fight, and it's disgusting. Instead of answering tough questions, Dubois' corner exploded in rage, lashing out at boxing legends and journalists. It wasn't defense, it was deflection. That kind of emotional chaos behind the scenes says everything. They knew Dubois quit, they just didn't want to admit it. Chisora didn't stop there. He accused the entire Dubois camp of failure. The preparation, the mindset, the execution, it all fell apart. You were given the blueprint, Chisora said, and you still couldn't deliver. And when things got tough, the towel came in. Not after a knockdown, not after a vicious onslaught, but mid-collapse, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. Dubois checked out long before the final bell. Usyk didn't just win, he exposed every crack in the Dubois myth. And that kind of exposure can't be undone with one motivational video. It takes time, it takes pain, it takes humility, all of which Dubois seems to be avoiding right now. Then Eddie Hearn returned with more commentary. But this time the tone had shifted, less support, more obituary. If that's the last we see of him, Hearn said, then he's had a good career. That's not the language of belief. That's a—
Yeah, man, he quit. I don't understand. You know, they were supposed to train him different. They did not. I mean, like, it's big time. It was set for him to win it. You know, it was set for him to win it. You know, when I went to graduate, he said, "How you feel?" You know, Don Chow goes to me, "Oh, go suck your best friend's dick." I'm like, okay, cool.
Gentle eulogy, a promoter easing his way out of a failed project. Respectful on the surface, but cold underneath. Hearn's done pushing Dubois. The machine is moving on. And it should be said, this is the same Daniel Dubois who was once heralded as the next British heavyweight king. Fast hands, monster power, marketable look. But now people speak of him in past tense, not because he announced retirement, but because his spirit already did. Meanwhile, Usyk's value only climbs. No PR games, no excuses, just cold, calculated dominance. That's the difference. Real champions don't defend their reputations. They defend their belts and win. Joseph Parker chimed in too. Another calm, honest voice that carried the weight of truth. Parker said what everyone saw. Usyk dismantled Dubois methodically. This wasn't a lucky shot or a controversial ending. It was a slow, tactical dismantling, one that left Dubois exposed in every department. Parker saw through the noise. While some fans cried about low blows, Parker focused on the
British fight fans, because we've got a chance to make the biggest fight in boxing. But, you know, if that is the last we see of him, he's had a great career. I doubt it. But, you know, it's always best to come into retirement to make sure someone pays you to come out of retirement. But if that's his lot, much respect to him.
Footwork, the ring IQ, the composure. Usyk didn't win through chaos. He won through calculation. That's what greatness looks like. Dubois didn't lose the fight. He surrendered it. The retirement rumors, they weren't surprises. They were the next logical step in a fighter trying to disappear from the heat. Then came Tony Bellew. And Bellew didn't just question Dubois' fighting heart. He ripped it to shreds. In Bellow's view, Dubois isn't a real warrior. He's a pretender. One body shot, just one, is what fans cling to in defense of Dubois. But Bellew mocked that argument. Usyk could have laughed off that shot, he claimed. It wasn't the shot that ended the fight, it was Dubois' lack of will. Bellew went deeper. He didn't attack the boxing, he attacked the man. The real Daniel doesn't want to fight, Bellew said. And those words will haunt Dubois forever. That line alone might echo louder than any punch thrown that night. Because it felt real, it felt honest, it felt earned. Bellew turned the spotlight back on Usyk, praising the Ukrainian maestro for his adjustments, his footwork, his timing, his ring.
Usyk was under pressure in the first round because Dubois comes out fast like he did against AJ, and if he catches you, you're in trouble. And I think just after that, he just decided basically, I'm not going to go on the back foot anymore. I'm going to take the fight to Dubois. And he just kind of beat him up and obviously stops him. I mean, he's beaten AJ twice, Fury twice, Dubois twice.
Generalship. While Dubois fans spun narratives, Usyk quietly made adjustments that nullified every Dubois strength. Bellew emphasized it. Usyk's not just skilled, he's genius-level smart. He made Dubois look like a deer in headlights. That's the real gap between them. Not just skill, not just power, but IQ and desire. Usyk wants legacy. Dubois wants relief. That's why one adjusted for victory, while the other searched for excuses. Finally, Joe Gallagher entered the conversation, and his breakdown wasn't emotional. It was surgical. Like a crime scene investigator, Gallagher dissected the fight piece by piece. Every punch, every movement, every lapse in judgment. And his conclusion, Dubois wasn't caught off guard. He was led into a trap, and he fell for it. Gallagher didn't even need to shout. His analysis said it all. Dubois didn't see the shot coming, not because it was sneaky, but because he lacked the mental readiness to anticipate it. His corner didn't prepare him, his instincts didn't protect him, and once the tide turned, he spiraled into defeat with no psychological safety net to stop the freefall. Gallagher's tone may have been respectful, but his message was devastating. Dubois didn't belong in that ring, not mentally, not tactically, not emotionally, and that's the cruel truth. In the end, all the retirement chatter wasn't really about health or age, it was about survival. Dubois was looking for an escape route from the heat, a way to duck the critics.
I'm not stunned. I know that he broke him down, right? Broke him down. He was patient. Then Dubois did, for me, looked better. Like landed some good shots in the beginning. It was going back and forth. And he got Usyk's attention, but he was patient. Feints, movement, footwork.
To let the news cycle move on. But boxing doesn't forget. Not when legends are publicly calling out your heart. Your team is melting down on camera, and your rivals are speaking about you like a charity case. This wasn't a controversial loss. This was a soul-taking. Usyk took Dubois apart not with brute force, but with intellectual violence. He adjusted, he executed, and he ended it on his terms. Dubois, he vanished mid-fight, and now, the echoes of that night follow him wherever he goes. Frank Warren sounds unsure. Eddie Hearn speaks in past tense. Johnny Nelson is done believing. Bellew mocks. Chisora scorns. Parker confirms what the world saw. And Gallagher? He writes the final report. Daniel Dubois might say he's still here, but boxing, it seems, has already moved on. So now we ask you, do you believe Dubois can claw his way back into relevance? Or are we witnessing the final chapter of a fighter who once had it all, only to crumble under the weight of expectation? Drop your thoughts below. War is coming.